Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
Hey, Larson.
Welcome back to Going In Raw. On today's episode, we're talking about this past week's Smackdown. We're talking about this past week's Collision, and we're going to talk a little bit about the news. Where do you want to start today, Larson?
Let's start with this because, you know, whenever we say anything remotely critical of AEW, people are always all, E-drones, This is though, it seems like this is something more backed by data. So,
right.
I mean, if you're going to attack us for reporting on this, you got to attack numbers.
Don't attack the messengers. Attack like science and math, right?
Yeah, don't attack us. Anyway, so if you watched Collision this weekend, which we did, you may have noticed the crowd looked and sounded a bit sparse.
A little bit.
Kind of on the small side, especially when Edge was dropping his promo. You could basically hear people having conversations in the ringside area.
True, yeah.
So according to Dave Meltzer on the recent Wrestling Observer Radio, not only was the crowd for Collision small in Salt Lake City this Saturday, but AEW's apparently ice cold when it comes to ticket sales right now. These transcripts come to you from Wrestle Talk. That's what Meltzer had to say. Quote, "They're cold. Boy, are they cold. How to change that? Man, that's hard to do. It's very difficult. It's not the end of the world or anything like that. They still may get a great TV deal. They should get a good TV deal. I don't worry about their future and all that, but to get it back to where it was a year ago is going to be very, very difficult." And Edge is not, look, tonight's Collision crowd in Salt Lake City, granted Salt Lake City is a bad city, don't get me wrong, for AEW. Salt Lake City was one of their worst pay-per-view markets that they have. I remember when they were doing 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 fans every week before the pandemic, they went to Salt Lake City and they did 2,900 people. I don't even think it was 2,900 paid. I think it was 2,900 total. They probably did about 2,500 tonight. So it's not even that far off. So Salt Lake City is just a bad city for them, but still, Edge there didn't move a lot of tickets at the end. Edge is a good performer. He's a good talker and everything like that, but it's not Punk. As far as a game changer, it's not Punk. So an update on tomorrow's Title Tuesday edition Dynamite from Independence, Missouri. It's going to feature Adam Copeland, Edge, his first match in AEW against Luchasaurus. According to WrestleTix, and they just updated this recently, so around noon Pacific on Monday, they've moved 2,725 tickets so far for the show. I think they said that WrestleTix said the setup was somewhere around 3,700. 3,400, sorry, because there's about 700 tickets outstanding. So, I mean, we've seen and heard this off and on for a while with AEW. You know, people will take pictures of the hard side cam of the arena, and it's usually tarped off or sparsely populated over there.
Right.
You know, they've been lighting the arenas of late, so you can only see the first few rows and not, you know, the upper decks at all.
I mean, the picture that I used for the thumbnail, which is just one of the images that their ringside photographer took. That's available on their website. Like, you look in the background after the tag title win, and you know it's just darkness. It's just emptiness. And I mean, look, the bottom line is, you look at WWE right now, and they're selling out. And hey, you know, they were looking at ditching a lot of their live events for pre-pandemic because
they had a. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
No, because the product was shit. What were you gonna say?
I remember before Triple H took over Creative. That there was a show in San Francisco, I believe, that WWE did at the Chase Center, where the Warriors play, where the attendance was terrible.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like they got 4,000 or something people. I mean, that number is not accurate, so don't like take that as gospel. But I remember that like it was really sparsely attended.
Yeah. No, I mean it's, you know, and that was when, and I honestly think there is a direct line between how compelling your product is and your live attendance, how excited people are. Right now, WWE has managed, under Triple H, WWE has managed to capture, you know, we often talk about how many different, you know, storylines they have, you know, percolating and set up, and how many pieces they have, because people are interested to see how the stuff is going to play out. They're and they've set up characters. You know, I watched SmackDown last night, and you look at, you know, when Rhea Ripley's in the office with Paul Heyman, you can hear the crowd chanting "Mommy," and they have many people right now that are hot. I mean, they've managed to successfully turn Jey Uso into a legitimate singles guy who was wildly over with the crowd. He gets a big pop when he comes out. LA Knight, Cody. I mean, everybody who was in the ring there at the end of Smackdown. Judgment Day's become a big thing. The Bloodline's still a big thing. And they've got, and then you go down the card. Rey Mysterio's still a big deal. You got Bobby Lashley, who's the crowd pops huge for, and now he's got with the Street Profits. And how is that going to play out? You know, their women's division is doing really well as too. So like, and here's the thing. It takes. I wrote this down. Four things. I think. That you sort of need, like, everything there, because I saw something on Twitter today where somebody was saying, man, none of these, like, in WWE, they just don't, there's not good wrestling there. And like, that's supposed to necessarily be the end all be all, right? Like, you need, if you're going to be a good wrestler, you got to be, or if you're a good wrestler, you have to know how to wrestle really good. Well, I don't know, you know, Stone Cold, The Rock, like, I can name a number, like Stone Cold was wrestling on, you know, like history's worst neck, and he was drawing huge money. Like, a good pro wrestler is one who draws, who brings people out. It's entertainment. That's the point. Now, a good technical in-ring wrestler, that's a different subject, but like a good pro wrestler is somebody, you know, that draws money. That's what they do. You could be a dog shit wrestler and still be a good pro wrestler and have a promoter want to have you in your company.
Yep.
But you got to have stories.
Yeah.
You got to have compelling characters.
Yep.
I mean, people pop all the time for the people in WWE because they built these characters into something that people care about. They've got stories. You got to have production. And that's something that AEW has. Like, they are legitimate. They've got a big budget TV production. They have that. And then you do have to have, like, wrestling. Like, people and WWE, they got Gunther. They got, for people bitching about Shinsuke not winning the other night, Seth Rollins and Shinsuke, they put on like a 28-minute match, which, yes, we quibbled about a little bit, but, you know, it was a solid match. Yeah. They have solid wrestlers. They have a little bit of everything. But right now, like, the story and characters, that's the thing. Like, that's what they focus on. And that's what brings people in. You look back in the Attitude Era when Vince Russo was running things, this dude hated the wrestling aspect of it. So you'd have these 2-minute matches, but the story and the characters, that drove them to, like, massive success.
Yep.
And AEW, they've got the production, they've got the wrestling. Those two things are not enough. Like, 20 to 30% of their programming features some compelling stories and characters. Toni Storm is doing wonderful work right now as a character. Does she have a story? Maybe they're going to build one for her. But as a character, she's great. You know, you got Ricky Starks, who's a great character, but without a real story right now. You know, a lot of people are just decent characters without real stories right now. And that's one thing that Tony Khan simply doesn't know how to do. And it's crazy because he's got Jimmy Jacobs there. He's got people there that can write these stories.
Yeah.
It's just they don't, for whatever reason, they've just elected to be the place where you just get a bunch of wrestling and not a hell of a lot of other stuff.
So I think there was a period about a year ago, maybe less than that, I don't remember exactly, beginning of the year for sure, where AEW, you know, in total, creatively, was in bad shape. There was no stories of consequence. No one was really doing anything interesting for the most part.
Yeah.
And then they made some changes in the creative department, including bringing in Jimmy Jacobs. And not to say that every story now is the most intriguing. There are more stories now in AEW than there was at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, sure.
And they do have a story that has been shown to draw.
Yeah.
It's unfortunately seemingly been hampered now that Adam Cole's broken his ankle. I'm talking about MJF and Adam Cole, their story. When they were on Collision, it popped a huge number.
It did.
For the show,
really well,
relative to the show.
Yeah.
And you look at all the times where AEW has been at their most successful, it's when they've had a really good story they're telling.
And
you go back to the Hangman Kenny stuff, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing, dude. I don't have, like, the answer is kind of simple and kind of not simple. It really is. I mean, Dave Meltzer says, I don't know, it's hard. It's really not.
I don't think it's that hard. No, I don't.
But it is the kind of thing that is hard to do. And that is, I said this from day one, Larson. From day one. Writing 52 weeks of television ain't easy to do. It's not. You can't sit there with a staff of like a typical, you know, like writer's room and break stories and then film stuff and do reshoots, this, that, the other. Pro wrestling is it's unlike any form of entertainment, because you do have to deal with injuries, egos, contracts, etc. If I want an actor to do 2 seasons of a show, you hire an actor for 2 seasons to do a show. Wrestlers, they operate on, years-long contracts, and you don't know who's going to get hot. You don't know who's going to, flop. You try something, it might take months or more to get over. Yeah. It is exceedingly difficult to do. Yeah. And I think Triple H does have a very good mind for how to set things up, pay him off, but keep that story going. And sometimes people might think it's stale. Well, a lot of people in our comments over at WrestleJuice as well, because I talked about this a little bit, think that the Seth Rollins run right now is a bit on the stale side. That happens. It happens. People get stale. People get tired. People, that they'll start cheering for this random LA Knight guy. Oh, this guy found something. Now we've got to figure out how to fit him into storylines. This shit ain't easy. But what makes it even more difficult is when you originally start your programming with one single 2-hour show every week, and then you add another hour, and then you add another 2 hours, and then, hey, how about this? Let's buy a whole other brand and do that as well. Oh, we're doing the 4 pay-per-views a year. Let's add another one. Let's add, 8 more.
Yeah.
It's you're compounding. And then when Tony Khan talks about, I work 80-hour weeks sometimes. Well, that 80 hours is spread amongst like a million different things.
Yeah.
And so he's the end all be all in AEW. It all falls on him. And hey, guess what? There was another guy who was doing way too much a couple of years ago, and that was Vince McMahon. And that's why the product sucked, because he was too old and he was doing way too much. Now, Tony Khan's not too old, but he also hasn't been doing this for decades upon decades.
No.
And so I don't know if he needs to go, and I don't think he'll ever do this, but it's almost as if he needs to like outsource the television writing and have every segment matters. I think AEW has the ingredients, and I know you agree with that. They got the ingredients. They have the wrestlers, but they got nothing for them to do.
Yeah. You think of, just in the last year, how many wrestlers have been off TV, and you're scratching your head asking, why? Why is Keith Lee barely on TV?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Someone who, while in NXT, there were such high expectations for what he was going to do on the main roster. Vince bungled Keith Lee on the main roster. He got released. He goes to AEW. It's like, oh, maybe here's the opportunity he needs to showcase what he can really do on a large scale.
Yeah.
And then him and Swerve had a solid run as a tag team. It seemed like they were set up for a feud. Poof. Keith Lee's gone for a while. He's in this random tag team with Dustin Rhodes. Now it seems like they're finally getting him back on programming with a program with Shane Taylor. But, you could probably think of at least a dozen wrestlers in AEW who you'd think would be regular players, featured performers, who seemingly can't get on TV. And, we can try to theorize, extrapolate why that is, whether it has something to do with, the way creative is kind of put together in AEW. We have to go and pitch, and some people may not feel comfortable pitching it, or some people may not, are more comfortable in a situation like WWE where they show up to work, they say, this is what you're doing today. Cool. I'll go out and do that, and I'll hit a home run. Mm-hmm. Not everybody, I think, everybody in the world of professional wrestling is a creative individual.
Mm-hmm.
But coming up with your own creative is something else entirely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It is, and you could be an awesome pro wrestler, a great promo, but sitting down like CM Punk famously did years ago when he felt like he had nothing to do and writing 14 weeks of television, that's not for everybody.
No, it's not. And I would theorize that it's probably not for like 80% of the wrestlers out there. Yeah, no, I agree with what you're saying. It's weird. I remember just recently Malachi Black posted a video where he was trying to clarify why he wasn't on TV, what he's dealing with. There were rumors that he had, like, I think a bad back, but in fact it was something else. I think it was like some sort of leg injury. If I'm not mistaken.
A hyperextended knee and a slight calf tear.
Right.
Yeah.
So he was setting the record straight on that. And one of the things he brought up was, why don't we see him in more singles matches? And with almost a sigh of frustration and a roll of the eyes, he says, I don't know why they don't want me in singles matches. And therein is like the issue is there's just, he signed so many people. And you know how Tony Khan is with his shiny new toys. And now Tony Storm has sort of turned herself into a shiny new toy. And she's on Dynamite and Collision.
Yeah. And now Adam Copeland's here.
Adam Copeland's here. But it's like, you know, now it's like, we're just going to get Tony Storm for a spell. Nobody, you know, Ruby had like an interview on Collision, but like, there's not, you know, was Statlander on Collision? I don't think so. I don't think she was on Dynamite. I'm not mistaken. But it's like, that's what he's going to focus on, because like, oh, he's got this new shiny toy, and it's just not like effective writing for wrestling.
No,
it's just not. And it's like, if you had a Scott D'Amore there literally running it, not, you know, making sure things are copacetic with Tony and what Tony wants to do, then you might have a killer program, because the ingredients are absolutely there. I thought for sure this week, you know, they had that bit with the Acclaimed and MJF in a trainer's room on Dynamite. And then on Collision, Jay White still has that title. I was like, oh, this is an opportunity to sort of say maybe the Acclaimed is going to help out MJF. And it's just, they didn't do. They didn't do anything with it. And then maybe they might still.
To MJF and his freestyle before his match, but that was it.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I remember exactly what it was. I remember hearing it and thinking, I think that's a reference to MJF, but otherwise, nothing.
And maybe it'll end up coming to pass because they planted the seeds there. But in AEW, there's always been something a little bit off about how they book long-term stories, in that they either like zoom to the finish line, drop things completely, or extend them way out. They have a hard time getting into that Goldilocks zone. Yeah. And sometimes they hit, and because I hope, and I don't know, the injury is gonna factor into this pretty huge, but sometimes every once in a while they'll time something out perfectly. But by and large, so much of their stuff has just the weirdest, like their timing is just really off. And I don't know if it's because he just wants to move on, or he's impatient, or it doesn't know where he wants to go with it. So it just lasts too long. You won't see somebody on TV for weeks, and then all of a sudden they'll show up again and they'll still be in that same story. But it's like, wait, why are you still doing this?
Yeah.
It's bizarre, but you know, I just feel it's honestly, and here's the thing, I will freely admit this. It's as if somebody said, hey, Steve, go book Weekly Wrestling. I wouldn't know how to do it because I ain't never done it before. I'm just a fan. I'd love to say, oh, yeah, put me in there and I'll write some cool stuff. I could probably write some cool stuff for a couple weeks. Wrestling is a different beast, dude. It
is. I mean, you mentioned it's unlike any other TV thing, and you said you signed an actor for a couple seasons of a show. Here's the thing, too. A couple seasons of the show could, depending where it's airing, could take 2, 3, 4 years.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
You know,
right.
It's not, if you go with a standard network television show, it's 23 weeks, I believe. 22, 23 weeks. So 22 or 23 episodes. Shoot that, have a 6-month break, do your second season, something like that. Mm-hmm. That's not the way it is in pro wrestling. Mm-hmm. You're on every week, assuming you're on. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you're sitting in catering, wondering, hey, when are they gonna do something with me?
Yeah.
And you try to make pitches, because we've seen that. We saw that on All Access.
Yeah.
Where they had a bit where Ty Conti was pitching the Young Bucks on an idea to get more involved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I mean, we still don't know exactly what that process is in terms of. Because it seemed like at that juncture she was kind of exasperated. Well, I guess I'll pitch it to the Bucks because they got Tony's ear.
Right.
But is there a formal structured process where if you have an idea, you pitch it to somebody and that moves up the ladder in a timely fashion?
Yeah.
Because if not, that sounds awfully familiar to what we were hearing about Vince.
Yeah. You just it does. Yeah.
Tony Khan seems a bit more approachable than Vince, where Chelsea Green was waiting out front of his office hours at a time for like a month just to get a meeting. Mm-hmm. But if there's no structured process to get your ideas in front of Tony Khan or Jimmy Jacobs or whoever to get them considered potentially approved, that's a frustrating experience for people trying to get their ideas on TV.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
We just don't know what that process is.
Yeah, no, it does. It seems, I mean, like a lot of what we heard about AEW backstage, it does seem, like there is a certain lack of structure, which benefits certain wrestlers and doesn't benefit others. But I do think that it seemingly is detrimental to the long-term overall story of AEW, like what's happening in their universe. It boggles my mind that, dude, so like 1998 Survivor Series. The Rock wins the WWF title. Could you imagine if the next pay-per-view he was defending like a B-level tag team championship?
Yeah,
and not being in the main event, not defending his WWF title? Like, they got MJF doing that. And I get, like, I understand that there is a story there to be told where his friendship with Adam Cole is overworking him to a degree that he's not used to and doesn't appreciate, but he's finding that he finds value in it because of his friend, who eventually is going to turn on him, by the way.
Yeah.
But like, that's on pay-per-view. Like, do that on your weekly show. Like, I know Grand Slam is in New York and that's like a big deal, but it's a week of television. It's not a pay-per-view. It just makes his title run. It makes his title, him having the title just seem less than for him to be on a pay-per-view defending the Ring of Honor tag titles. So there are lots of weird things that are going on there, and plenty of it you can pick and choose and be like, oh, I like this. This is cool. I like this. This is cool. But in terms of one thing we used to say that we really liked about AEW, especially because, I mean, they debuted and then 4 months later was the pandemic.
Yeah.
Everything seemed like it was one big universe. We used to say that all the time.
Yep.
Things would weave in and out each other, and they just don't anymore. And they haven't for a while now.
No. That doesn't really happen very often these days.
I mean, I got here, the Alpha Omega here in chat says, it's not the content, it's the fact that they don't promote the events in the cities they're in. I disagree with that.
Well, I've heard that too. I've heard that's a common criticism of their live events. Promotion is important. I'm not saying it's
promotion's important,
important than creative. It's a part of the puzzle, I think, is the fact that they, like when Dynamite was here in Sacramento earlier this year, like I had listened to the radio a decent amount here I'm driving around.
Yeah.
Not a word.
Yeah.
Not a word of it. No, I didn't see any commercials for it.
In advance of Smackdown, was there plenty of advertising? Did you notice that?
I'll say this.
I don't pay attention to anything going on locally.
Okay. I'll say this. I got several emails from, because I'm on WWE's mailing list. I'm also on the Golden One's mailing list.
Mm-hmm.
I got probably 3 or 4 emails about tickets going on sale, and even up to the event. Hey, by the way, this show's happening. You can still get tickets. I don't remember that being the case with Dynamite.
But if Golden One is doing the thing, like I would have thought that'd be like on Golden One's side to promote stuff. But I don't know if that's something in like the writer for the deal, like you have to promote, email blasts. To me,
this time.
That would be a bit bizarre if like all they had to do is like that feels like all they have to do is promote it locally and then they're good and they'll be selling out shit.
That's not the
you know
deal.
what I mean?
No, it's not the. I think it's part of it because if people aren't aware there's a show happening in town, they're not going to go. But if the content's not compelling, then people aren't going to go regardless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I kind of feel like that's the good product. Let's promote this shit. And AEW's like, oh, we're lukewarm these days. We don't need to promote it. I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't. That'd be weird. But then I hear weird things about their merch sales too, like at shows. Like that's wonky
They don't
too.
bring enough stuff and stuff like that. Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah.
Too.
So I don't know. Look, whether it's their creative or their local promotions, they gotta get their shit together. Because like
there's a lot of aspects of how they run their business. They gotta get together.
It kind of feels like it, yeah. But so yeah. Anyways, things might be a bit cold there in AEW. Hopefully it turn around, man. I don't want I like good business for everybody. That's what I want.
Exactly. A good, thriving, healthy wrestling business is good for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and take a quick break here, Larson. What do you say?
Let's do it. This episode of Going in Raw is sponsored by BetterHelp. Not sure if this has ever been an issue for you, Steve, but there have been several times in my life where I think to myself, I'm in a situation and I know what I should do, but my brain kind of gets in the way, so I can't exactly do what I should do. Like, for example, when I was a kid, I was on my way to the dentist. I don't like going to the dentist. So what I would do is I would hide in the back of the car to avoid going to my appointment, even though my parents knew I was in the car with them, just so I would maybe not have to go to the dentist because I was so anxious about it. Go to the dentist. It's good for me. It's good for my teeth.
Yeah. Well, nobody likes going to the dentist, but I feel you. I'm guessing you know this now, though. Like therapy helps you figure out what's holding you back so you can work for yourself instead of against yourself.
Yeah, I've been there. And looking back, I guess I always was kind of anxious, but my anxiety got really bad in my mid-20s, and I realized that I needed to go to therapy. And it took me a few tries to find someone I felt comfortable talking to, but once I did, I was able to learn the tools I needed to better cope with my anxiety and not deal with situations where I know I got to do something, but my brain gets in the way, and so I can't do it.
Yeah, man. Well, if you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's completely online and designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited for your schedule. All you got to do to get started is fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched up with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge.
So make your brain your friend with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/raw today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/raw.
Who is this? Braindead says, you hid in the thing that would take you to the dentist? Well played.
I mean, I thought I was playing, like 3D chess there, but I guess not.
Your dad was like, easy day at the office. Let's get going.
He opens the car door and is like, where is he? He was here a moment before.
Oh, man. So speaking of AEW, on Collision this past Saturday's edition opened with a fairly shocking title change. Ricky Starks and Bill Biggs squashed FTR en route to becoming the new AEW Tag Team Champions. Speculation as to why the title change happened really picked up when Dax Harwood tweeted shortly after the match, what a run. Love you all. Top guys out. Of course, it's got people wondering if FTR was finished in AEW. Shortly thereafter, Dax tweeted a clarification. Guys, I said top guys out all the time. Oh, we ain't going anywhere. This is our home. Not long after the match, Fightful Select reported that FTR was signed with AEW until roughly 2027, by which time aliens are going to be here, Larson.
Oh, can't wait.
That's my own interjection. That's not Sean Rossap. But no, apparently they're signed with AEW until roughly 2027, and there were no issues between FTR and AEW. Fightful mentioned that there was some speculation that Cash was suffering from an injury, though they were unable to confirm it. But on the most recent Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez discussed whether Cash was indeed hurt.
So we're going to role play a little bit here. You're going to be Dave, I'll be Alvarez.
I'll be Meltzer, yeah.
Cash is injured.
That's what it sure appeared to be.
Well, he is injured. That's the story. Story they told on television was that at the pay-per-view when Aussie Open ran them together, they sold it like he injured his rib there. Don't know how long FTR is going to be out of action, though.
See, here's scene. They're just talking about what they saw on TV.
They're talking about what happened on TV. This isn't like inside information they're getting.
Yeah, no,
they're describing what they showed on Collision, which was the battering ram bit at Wrestle Dream after they hit the Super Shatter Machine at Wrestle Dream. Cash is down there. Oh, yeah, my ribs.
Oh, my ribs.
He's selling ribs. So
yeah. I mean, yeah. So they're just describing. Like, did like some of the news sites pick this up as like gospel? Like, oh, they're injured. It's the real reason.
Well, let me go to the headline. The transcript is directly from Wrestling Observer's website, and the headline is AEW's Cash Wheeler dealing with injury. So
okay,
this isn't like.
So when you click on that, does it just give you this transcript?
Well, there's a little bit of introduction, but yes. This is where I got the transcript from.
That's just
from the source.
Alvarez is simply saying this happened. And here's the thing. Like, well, yeah, that's weird. Yeah. I mean, it'd be one thing if they said it and then other news outlets said, oh, they said that he's injured when they didn't say that. He just said this is what happened on television.
I know.
But then for their own website to say he's injured when they're just saying that's what happened on television. But I don't know. Like, I don't know.
I mean, they're off. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know that. It's not conclusive. I know they said he was injured on TV, but how many times have they done an injury angle on TV to write people off for another reason?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know? And it would make the most sense, or it would make a lot of sense to write Cash off TV because he was injured.
Mm-hmm.
It's I'm happy for Bill and Ricky Starks getting those tag titles.
Mm-hmm.
Like Starks has been doing awesome work for a long time. So was Big Bill going back to when he showed up in Impact, and it's good to see their hard work being recognized. You can already see the path that they're going to take, unfortunately, for them to eventually lose those titles to the Young Bucks at Full Gear. Said Starks is just ordering Big Bill around all over the place.
So, like, okay, It is weird. If they're not injured, that if one of them isn't injured, this is a weird story beat that sort of smacks of like, I don't know.
I mean, it would make sense that if Cash's legal issues are coming to a head soon, they write him off TV because of an injury. That would make sense.
Yeah, that's true. We still don't know what's going on with that.
No.
So, but yeah, I mean that could be a thing. I mean, because they did a whole thing, like, you know, where he got knocked off the apron, but like, and then to win in this fashion, I don't know.
And choke slam through the announce table.
Oh, dude, I forgot about that. Yeah, he got choke slammed through the announce table. They're not doing that if he's got a busted rib.
You wouldn't think so.
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't think so. I mean, there are injuries that exist.
Could be something else. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be something else. Where if you're hurt, you need time off to recuperate, but taking a bump like that ain't necessarily gonna aggravate or make the injury more severe. With a rib injury, that's not the case, especially if it's a fractured rib.
Yeah.
If you take a nasty bump, you could displace that fracture and puncture your lung. They're not gonna. I wouldn't think they would risk that.
No, I wouldn't think they
bruised
would.
Ribs, that would hurt. Like bruised ribs hurt. They hurt.
Mm-hmm.
You sneeze and you feel like someone just took like a fucking sword and stabbed you in the rib cage. It's terrible.
So let's say they're not injured, and let's say it's not a legal issue. It's not because of the gun stuff. Is there any, like, is it because like they got it's not going to be the Young Bucks. Is it because they wouldn't want to do the Young Bucks match? That'd be weird.
That would be weird because the Young Bucks just lost to them.
Plus, you add into it that they trademarked CMFTR, which is also kind of, maybe that's weird.
Yeah. I don't
Maybe
know.
they're just thinking that and the possibility is not going to go to WWE. They could still get together in other places.
Could be.
So maybe that's just, hey, we're just like taking care of all of our trademarks, taking care of maybe that's completely unrelated.
That could be. That could be like, hey, if Phil goes to Impact and wrestles, independently, then we can still do stuff.
Maybe the idea is maybe the idea from Tony Khan, and I'm not saying this is like a good one, but maybe it's like, well, Young Bucks are popular, FTR are popular. We don't want to like make one team bad, but we're going to have the Young Bucks win these titles, so we need, like, going into full gear, Young Bucks are #1 contenders, so it's going to be Bill Big and Ricky Starks because they're bad guys.
And it could be a situation where Collision, we got stiff competition, we got Fast Lane, we got college football. Let's do something shocking on the show to generate some conversation.
Yeah, could be.
Let's do this shock title change in squash fashion. And hey, Dax, tweet something that alludes to you leaving AEW,
Yeah, and that's another thing. Yeah, that's another thing that's weird is, Top Guy's out. Top Guy's out. Like, I know they say that at the end of promos.
Oh, it's like it's been a great run.
It's been a great run.
Top Guy's out.
Like, that screams, I'm out of here.
I know.
Yeah, there's weird stuff going on there. Well, maybe
what a
he'll start
run.
his
Love
podcast.
you all. Top Guy's out.
Love you all.
I can see people assume, they're out of AEW.
That's what I say to my family when I'm about to, leave for, a while. Hey.
What a run. Love you all.
What a run. Love you all. Top Steve out.
Yeah.
I'm going to Winco.
Yeah. I'll be back in 30 minutes with a fresh pizza.
Right, exactly. We got a super chat here from Mordecai. I got this new setup here on the YouTube. Hey, can you look at it really quick and give me some validation?
I have a question for you. First of all, who's this set up for, Steve?
Oh, dude. It's for Steve and Larson, nobody else. That's who it's for.
It looks good.
Yeah, right?
I'm
trying to figure out. Yeah, I know, exactly. Some breathing room for us. No more borders.
Exactly. Spread my arms a little bit.
Spread your arms a little bit. I know, it's nice. But I got this little blue bar down here underneath. And as you can see, Mordecai just did a $10 super chat, and it says his name. So, like, one of these is, I think, the most recent one, and one of them is the most that anybody's done in this session. So, if you want your name on here, just drop us a $1.99 super chat, and then your name will be on here too. If you want to be like the top dog, like Mordecai here with the $10, then just do more than $10, and your name will be there instead of Mordecai's.
What about memberships? Because we have On Your Mark Salute just gifting 10 memberships here to the community.
So that should be showing up any moment now because it says like one of these I have set up, and it's just nobody's gifted anything so far in this podcast. It says most gifted members, I think, or late 30-day gifter. What's that one? Here we go. On Your Mark Slew gifted 15 times. That should change to 25 times because he just gifted 10 more memberships to the community. Thank you so much on your marks, Lou. And the Mordecai Super Chat said, I want to say for the advertising problem, I used to go to a lot of the Ring of Honor and Dark shows at Universal, but would miss a lot because they advertised that week and emails came to me an hour before they start. So there might be an element of the advertising thing. I just feel like, you know, if it's a hot show, people are going to know about it, right? Like that's sort of
yeah. Well, also like if it's a hot show and you're getting good viewership and the awareness of your product is higher, if you got some buzz going, and if you don't got buzz going, your brand awareness is a little bit lower. While we're taking this break to talk about some other things here, let's mention to everybody we're on the road to 198,891 subscribers.
Yeah, man.
Right. We made some good progress over the weekend. We're under 700. We're 198, 196. So we got 621 people watching right now on the YouTube Live. If everybody who hasn't subscribe to the channel, so much closer to 198,891. Also, if you're watching, we got 638 people watching now. If everybody hit that like button. This one looks like a thumbs up.
Yeah.
We should get 638 likes.
Yeah.
And that's great for the video.
That's awesome for the video. Absolutely.
That's great for video.
Yeah. We also have a Patreon at patreon.com/Steve and Larson. You get bonus episodes. You get access to our question threads. And then upcoming, the Week of Champions 3, which is coming up in November. It's our predictions challenge. John Hosey, the first two-time Big Blue predictions champion, won the Week of Champions 2. So congratulations to John Hosey for that. That was pretty awesome. Well done.
Congratulations, John Hosey. Congratulations.
Yeah.
History made at Week of Champions 2.
Yeah. So we're going to review Collision here, and then we'll do kind of a speed on SmackDown, just because SmackDown, like, it was like a go-home episode, and they usually just do, like, go-home episodes are just sort of like promotional these days. Like they don't really do a whole lot of stuff, but this time they did stuff, but it was all just for Fastlane.
Yeah,
it was
very fast for the most part, very Fastlane specific. So
yeah, it was.
Fastlane already happened. It seems weird to review a show in depth that related directly to a show that already happened. You know,
it is what it is. So Collision started, as we sort of said before, with Ricky Starks and Bill Big taking on FTR. The commentary sort of to give us some foreshadowing, I guess, through to a clip from Wrestle Dream to show that Cash is injured, but he's still going to do this match. And then Dax.
Oh, my ribs.
Dax does like thank you for the Cash impression there. There you go. We got some method there from you. Look at that. You think you'd do like 100 times before. If you were in a Kubrick movie? You think you'd be able to do the same, like 100 takes? I would hope he wouldn't
want it the same exact way for all 100 takes. What's the point of doing 100 takes then?
I don't know, man. The guy was kind of crazy. So anyways, Dax and Cash get a little hug going. But Starks punches Dax. Cash goes flying off. Starks hits Dax with a tornado DDT. Dax kicks out of that. Bill Big tags himself in, punches Dax, sends him out of the ring with a clothesline. He choke slams Cash through the announce table. Bill Big puts Dax back in the ring. Dax evades a pair of corner splashes from Bill. Looks for a sharpshooter. Bill powers out. Dax gets hit with a big boot. Choke slam. Stark says, hit another. Bill does. Stark says, one more time. He does. Stark says, another. And then Bill punches Dax. Tags in Starks. Big spear. Gets the win. New tag champions.
All in about 5 minutes. Less than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It was basically a squash match of the Your Tag Champions.
Pretty much.
It was not competitive in the least.
Pretty much.
Then we got a recap of Powerhouse Hobbs joining the Callis family, and then right into another match. You got Bryan Danielson taking on Kyle Fletcher. This match is a lot of fun. Kyle Fletcher, I guess he's 24?
24 years old, yeah.
Pretty darn good for at 24. I can only imagine how good he's going to be another 5 to 10 years.
In his pre-match in the pre-collision promo, the intro promo, Danielson was like, I'm gonna wrestle a guy who's 24 years old. I've been wrestling longer than he's been alive, which is trippy to think about.
Yeah, it is. It is. Good showing here for Kyle Fletcher. Plenty of good near falls. That suicide dive bit he did where he flings himself through the ropes and Danielson kind of tosses him into the barricade. That looked like it sucked.
Yeah, it did.
Nonetheless, the finish saw Fletcher looking for or hitting a reverse suplex off the top rope, looking to lock on a Dragon Sleeper for the second time during the match. Instead, Danielson escapes this one and does a saber clutch to get the win.
Yeah, that match is happening, by the way.
It is. Definitely. So then Gates of Agony come to the ring and attack Danielson, Claudio, and Yuta. Are the Yuta heads eating good?
I mean, he ran to the ring. He didn't have a match, so I'm not sure. I think the Yuta heads are on a diet this week.
But he's on TV, though.
He was on TV, so yeah, they're eating. They're definitely eating.
They're eating good. Anyways, they run to the ring to make the save. To save Danielson from the attack at the hands of Gates of Agony because Danielson's facing Swerve on Dynamite tomorrow.
That's going to be a killer match. That's going to be a really good match. Yeah. By the way, we're going to get a vote up right after the show today for our patrons and our YouTube channel members. You guys get to decide what we review on Wednesday, what we review on Thursday as it pertains to the Tuesday Night War. So are we going to review NXT on Wednesday or NXT on Thursday? AEW on Tuesday, AEW on Thursday. You can't do both. We can't review two shows in one show. After this collision
right here.
After this collision recap, we're going to review SmackDown. But before we do that, after that, we had a Starks and Bill Big interview. Bill Big says we went out there with the best tag team in the world and we whooped their ass. And you can't teach that. Ricky and I, we show up to work week after week looking like stars. We walk like stars, talk like stars, defecate like stars. We act like stars. It's damn time the tag division here in AEW is represented by, you guessed it, some stars. And then
Starks follows it. I want everyone to know one thing. FTR, you do not get a rematch. No, sir, you don't get anything. Get that out of your head right now. As far as me and Bill go, we are now the ones that everyone is gunning after. We are the real faces of Collision. If you had any doubt about that, go ahead and throw it out of your mind. We talk about Absolute Ricky Starks and Big Bill. You better do it with respect. We are the new top dogs around here. Top dogs out.
Top dogs out, not top guys. I love you guys. Hell of a run. After that, we had Bang Bang Gang. Juice Robinson and the Guns. With I thought we were gonna throw him up. There we go. Bang, bang. There we go. Of course they're fighting Angelico, Gravity, and Metalik. So Larson, take one guess. Although you already know the outcome because you wrote these notes. Who got the win here?
Bang Bang Gang.
You got that right. Yeah, absolutely. So, anyways, afterwards, so what is it? Juice gets his finish on Metalik.
Yeah, Metalik. 310 to Yuma, and then Juice hits his finish. Yeah.
And then Jay White gets in the ring, says we're missing somebody, Cardblade. So Austin brings Cardblade in, and then it's just a really long promo. He challenges Hangman Adam Page to a match on Title Tuesday. He says, the Hangman, let me remind you, the record between us is 3-0 when you include Forbidden Door. He says, you haven't earned a shot at the champ, so it'll be non-title match.
I like that he's acting like he actually won that belt. I know.
He's making a good case for him as champion. But he says, but it can be, what do they call these? And Austin's like, an eliminator. Yeah, that's right, an eliminator match. But at the end of it, you'll do what you do so well. You'll breathe with a switchblade, and I'll make my record 4-0. Max, sit back, take notes, because I got it from here, pal, because I do it better than you, and everybody knows it. If you ain't down with that, we got 2 words for you. Guns up. There we go.
After that, we had a Nick Wayne video package. Kind of describes why he turned heel, but yet never mentioned AR Fox in this, which is like the most obvious reason to turn heel.
Yeah, he hasn't been seen on TV for a while, AR Fox.
No, I know. But the fact that AR Fox like busted open Nick Wayne and held a shard of glass to his neck, and then Darby like forgives him 2 weeks later and hugs him. So I think that'd be reason enough. Anyways, he says he's upset because Darby, was his friend. Then 2015 left him. And he says he's always felt like he's been in Darby's shadow, just like Christian has always felt he's in Adam Copeland's shadow. And he continues, Darby, I knew all the time that you abandoned me. The best way to get back at you was to join your enemy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know about that. After that, but he's young, generally speaking. A lot of young people are stupid. Not all young people. But at 24, I was an idiot. Hell, at 45, I'm an idiot.
Yeah. I mean, I agree.
I do know not to go hang out.
My
with
assessment of myself.
Right. I do know not to go hang out with your enemy, though.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
You do. You hang out with Hilton all the time.
He's your enemy, not my enemy. The enemy of my friend is my friend.
After that, we had Iron Savages and the Acclaim. Before this match began, Jack Jameson said that something about eating ass.
Yeah, I guess their gimmick is they like to eat ass.
All right.
Which is, not my flavor.
Yeah, but
toss and salad, that's a thing, man. People
have
like,
at it.
ass to mouth. People like that stuff, I guess. That's going to get us. That's got to get, saying that, ATM, that's got to get some sort of terms of service violation, right?
We'll see. We'll find out soon enough.
some friendos driving in their car, driving their kid to school. Dad, what's ass to mouth? Wait, sorry. I got to do my kid impression. Dad, what's ass to mouth?
That's definitely a terms of service violation right there. Holy shit. We're just describing what happens. Hey, we're describing what happened on a wrestling show. That's all we're doing.
They're talking about eating butts.
Yeah.
And then Tony Storm ate some ass later on, too.
Yeah.
It's a very heavy, true. It's a very ass to mouth heavy episode, Larson.
Let me ask you this. In a match between the Iron Savages, who have been booked as losing wrestlers.
Oh, yeah.
Against the Acclaimed, your trios champions. Who do you think won this match?
Oh, man. I know I watched Collision, but, I got long COVID, so I'm going to say probably the Acclaimed. Although Billy Gunn was doing a lot of chattering during this match.
He was. Very talkative.
Something going on the bot, like when dude was like hitting him with the elbow on the mat, and he was like, "Oh," and he just like, read him the riot act. I don't know what that was all about. If he was like, "Okay, do this, or like, hey, watch your," I don't know. A lot of talking there.
There was a lot of talking. Anyways, you are correct. The Acclaim got the win. Bowens hit Scissor Me Timbers, then the arrival on Jameson. Caster follows with the mic drop. Acclaimed retain. Then we got a Tony Storm video package. There's those clips of the Portrait of a Star stuff, but they made it black and white.
Great.
With some B-roll.
Awesome. Yeah, it's
great
so
stuff.
Good. Yeah.
Then we got a Shane Taylor, Keith Lee video package hyping up their bout, which I assume is happening sometime.
I don't know about those assumptions on matches happening, man.
I guess not. They had some B-roll here, their time together in Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
And Shane Taylor, pretty much his thesis was, you think I'm upset because you went to WWE? No, I'm upset because people think you're better than me because of that. Mm-hmm, so Shane Taylor's out to prove it.
That he's better.
Yeah.
After that, we had Tony Storm versus Kiera Hogan. This was awesome because at first Tony handed her a script that she wanted to follow. Tony's doing some next level meta shit here, man. It's awesome.
Oh, yeah. It's great.
Follow this script, she says. Kiera Hogan says, "You want me to follow a script?" And she rips it up. Tony's pretty mad about that, so they have a match. At one point, Kiera Hogan was smacking Tony's backside. Tony was eating Kiera's backside, or bit her. I don't know what it was. I don't know.
Yeah. I think it was a bite.
And then she hit a German suplex and a hip attack and a Storm Zero for the win. I'm just upset they mistimed the close up this time. They went in and then she was like revving up the crowd for the close up.
I know.
And then whoop-ass, she did it, but they were already there.
Well, she did the whoop-ah, the close-up, and then they kind of zoomed in just a little bit more.
Nudged in a little bit more.
Just a little bit more.
Yeah.
Just a little
bit
more.
She is so damn good, though.
Oh, I know. This is like next level stuff. This is so good. So good. It's so clever and so smart.
Yeah.
And the way she's continually bringing in new elements, it's fantastic.
It is.
Then we got a Ruby Soho interview. She says, "Renee, you have eyes. You can clearly see that I had Sheeta pinned to the mat. And if it wasn't for her fat fingers knocking out the ref, I'd be facing my girl Saraya for the AEW Women's title. But I'm not. I'm okay with that because I will be ringside cheering on Saraya." And Renee's like, "Hold up. Just been informed you've been banned from ringside for that match." Ruby's like, "Why?" "All right, I'm cool. It's fine because Saraya doesn't need me. There is a reason she is the AEW's world champ, women's champ. It's because she's the most dominant force in this industry."
That's right. After that, we had Commander versus Eddie Kingston. You see, Eddie Kingston sent Jade Cargill a whole crate of Kit Kats.
Yeah.
Oh, I love some Kit Kats, man. It's probably my prime.
Have you tried any of the flavors they have of Kit Kats beyond original?
Nah.
Like the green tea one. I think there's green tea Kit Kats.
Of all the flavors you could possibly do with Kit Kat, green tea?
Maybe it goes well with the chocolate and the wafer
Maybe
cookie. I don't know.
Maybe it does. Maybe
Do they have
it
pumpkin
does.
spice Kit Kats? Those would probably be good.
Yeah, maybe.
There's pumpkin spice everything these days.
I want some. I gotta go get some pumpkin pie somewhere with some cool.
That's what I'm talking about.
That
Hell
sounds
yes.
good. That sounds good. Anyways,
Heck
Eddie
yes.
Kingston,
I had some pumpkin muffin this weekend. That was delightful.
pumpkin muffin,
It's good.
pumpkin muffin. Command.
I saved it for last.
Saved it for last. Pumpkin muffin. You're my dessert, sweetheart. Anyways, Eddie beats Commander here with a back fist. Fun match, though. Good stuff. Commander's a fun wrestler. Losing wrestler. Yeah. Fun wrestler. After that, we had Edge's promo here. This is long. He thanks JR to signing him for his first wrestling contract in the 1950s. He said, I was able to pay my college debts. He said, I'm forever in debt to you. Oh, man. He's in debt to me. That's good.
So he lost the college debt, but now he has an eternal debt to JR.
I got
JR owned Edge's soul.
Man. I owe it, man. All right. Here we go. We'll see how I'm going to collect this. Anyways, so he says, if you watch Dynamite, you know things didn't go to plan. He says, I don't get it. I'm confused. The whole idea of me coming back to AEW is team with Christian. He says, you guys wanted to see it, right? And then it's like, uh-huh.
Yeah, the 25 people in attendance all kind of cheered.
He says, I got to rewind a bit, okay? It's like, uh-oh, we're going to be here for a while. He says, for 9 years, I was told I can never do this again. I was told that if I fell, I could die. But I'm standing here in an AEW ring for a hell of a lot of hard work. He says, it gets better because for 7 years, Christian was told he can never do this again also. He says, through a lot of hard work, he's in AEW with me. So I don't understand what happened. Because when we first started talking about this, about me coming here, that was the idea. But somewhere along, did he just admit to tampering? He says, somewhere along the line, he got a little bit colder. He stopped taking my phone calls, but I get it. That's just being him. He's not the nicest guy in the world. As a matter of fact, he's a dick. But again, I love him. He's my best friend for 40 years. When he stopped taking the calls, I should have had some kind of inkling of what was going to happen. And yeah, he's in his Bond villain phase. I get it. So really what I'm out here for are some answers. I want to know what's going on. I'm confused. Christian, get out here and tell me what's going on. No Christian at first. Then he shows up on the Tron. He's laughing. Ha, ha, ha. He says, same old Adam. You think you call the shots around here. You've been in AEW less than a week, and you've accomplished absolutely nothing. As the TNT champ, I'll come and go as I please. As for your request for an answer, nah, not tonight. You want it? You'll get it live on Dynamite. I'll be there this Tuesday. The question is, are you going to make it? And then Luchasaurus' music hits. He comes out with Nick Wayne. They both make their way to the ring. Copeland's able to fend them off, hits Wayne with a copecution, I think they're calling it now.
Is that what they called it?
I think that's what's his face? Riccaboni.
That pun doesn't exactly work, though.
Was it Riccaboni or Kevin Kelly this week?
It was Riccaboni.
It was Riccaboni, yeah.
I really like Ian Riccaboni.
Yeah, he's funny. There was a really funny bit where he talked about scissoring his wife.
Yeah. Him and Nigel have really good chemistry.
They really do,
yeah.
So he hits Darby's music hits. He sneaks in the ring, hits Luchasaurus from behind with a chair. Nick sort of cowers in front of Darby, pleads with him not to chair him. And then Luchasaurus gets on the apron. Darby knocks him off. Wayne drop kicks Al, and Luchasaurus takes off Darby's arm brace. And then Nick hits Darby with a concerto onto his injured arm.
What's a better name for the execution now that he's Adam Copeland? It's got to be a pun, though.
Oh man. So it's like a glorious DDT type thing, right?
Yeah.
It is. The copacetic.
I was going to say that too. Copacetic, yeah.
It's good because it's like you're being put out. You're copacetic, you know.
Copacetic, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good word. I like that word.
It is a good word.
Yeah.
It is a good word. We also had a Smackdown, as mentioned. It preceded Fastlane, so we're not getting to too many of the details here because Fastlane's already happened.
B Cop says, Steve, I'll donate $5 if you never do that again. I don't know where he is in the podcast, but I'm willing
guessing
to take
it's your child impression.
Give me your $5.
Well,
And I'll always do
yeah.
it.
Yeah, probably.
I'm tempted to give you $5, not do that again.
And NPR here, member for 5 months, re-upped, says, call it copium. There we go. That could work.
Good.
Got some other options here. Coping mechanism.
Good.
Better than copecution. That doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
It's not a real. Oh, here East Side Reviews has it. The copy machine. Making copies. It should be called making copies. Out of Copeland, making copies. That guy's crazy now. Anyways, moving on. LA Knight had a promo to kick off SmackDown. But again, all this stuff was just to build to Fastlane.
Yeah, pretty much. There was like one match, the Theory match versus Dragon Lee was the one thing on this show that had nothing to do with Fastlane.
Dragon Lee's on SmackDown officially.
Yeah, officially on the roster on .com. Yeah, he's
the roster
on the SmackDown roster now. That's good to see.
Dragon Lee. So anyways, LA Knight says, "Let me talk to you." But then he's interrupted by Paul Heyman, who walks out. He talks a lot. He says, "My name is Paul Heyman, and I have a reputation for always spotting the next big thing in this industry. I see them coming from a mile away. I know who the next megastar is going to be, and ladies and gentlemen, the next big megastar in this business is going to be LA Knight. Sir, that's to your credit. You're on a roll now." And the crowd starts chanting LA Knight, and he says, "That really pisses me off. Jimmy, too. It pisses him off, too. It's a good thing Solo doesn't care. Even with all the respect and admiration you've earned from me, my compliments to you, sir, and also my condolences, because now that you've earned my attention, the bloodline's going to have to do something about it." Knight says, "Yeah, you done running your fat jowls yet? You've come out here and told me everything that's great about me, and I appreciate that. It's a wise move, wise man, to put some respect on my name." And then he does a prop comedy bit. He pulls out a receipt and he says, "Let me check my receipt real quick." "Okay, Dad." "Okay, boomer joke." He says, "I didn't buy any of your BS because here you are talking about." And then Jimmy interrupts and says, "Shut your mouth. We ain't been properly introduced, my oos. I'm him, Jim Uso with the Enforcer Solo, along with the OG. And we're out here to tell you right to your ugly face, you ain't making it a fast lane." So Solo and Jimmy get on the apron. Cena's music hits. He sprints to the ring. Heyman pleads with Jimmy and Solo to back off. They eventually do. Knight picks up the mic and says, "Boy, you're all excited for a fight, but I get it. You didn't have permission from your little chief to come out here, did you? I'll tell you what. Here's how we'll do this. Everyone's talking about John Cena and LA Knight, and they're talking about the bloodline at Fastlane tomorrow night. But I'm thinking about tonight. What I'm thinking for tonight, Jimmy Uso, little wannabe tribal chief. How about me and you one-on-one tonight so I can punch your ass to the moon so you can learn firsthand whose game is it with everybody saying, yeah." LA Knight.
They really should run with LA Knight as prop comic.
I agree with that. Yeah, like a comedic mallet, bust that out, So, hey, Jimmy Uso, like imagine this watermelon is like your head, and then he bashes it he gives the watermelon a billionaire finger trap.
Billionaire finger trap, yeah, exactly. This is all about BFT.
Right, exactly.
So we get a shot of Judgment Day arriving at the arena. They walk up to JD McDonough, who's standing there. Priest is like, "Why is he here? Why is he here?" And Rhea says, "It's fine. He's here because I told him to. There's a reason for it." And Priest is like, "Fine.
Good. You're leader."
Rhea was leader on
She
SmackDown.
was. She absolutely
without a
was.
doubt. Making deals, all that. So we had Charlotte and Asuka teaming up against Io Sky and Bayley ahead of the Triple Threat Women's title match at Fastlane. There were spots where Charlotte accidentally knocked Asuka off the apron, and then Bayley and Io. But in the end, that leads to it, Ashley. Bayley's looking for a figure four on Charlotte. Charlotte boots her off into Io. Io goes flying off the apron, and then Charlotte hits Bayley with natural selection for the win.
Yep.
Which makes sense why she didn't win at Fastlane, because she had momentum going into it.
She had a lot of momentum going into it, man. You got to get that momentum. Yeah.
After that, we have Heyman backstage, and he's laying into Jimmy and Solo. He's like, "You need to have authorization from Roman." And Jimmy says, "OG, Tribal Chief, got to be here to authorize. He ain't never here. I'm here. You got to be here to make some." And he's noticing their locker room door is open. He says to Solo, "You left the door open?" Walks in. Judgment Day are sitting inside. And Jimmy's like, "I think you guys are in the wrong locker room." And Finn goes, "We're exactly where we're supposed to be."
We're exactly where we're supposed to be. After that, so the Bloodline and Judgment Day, they're having a bit of a stare down in the locker room there. And Rhea's like, "Hey, everybody leave." And then like from the lowest level, lieutenants upwards to Priest and Solo. So like JD is the first to leave and followed by Finn because they're friends. And so Jimmy leaves, Finn leaves. And then it's left with Priest and Solo, and Rhea's like, "Priest, it's okay. I'll be fine. Get out of here." So Priest leaves. Solo's just standing there, and Heyman's like, "Okay." So then she's like, "Okay, let's talk." Before we get to that, though, we've got Rey Mysterio versus Bobby Lashley. An overbooked finish here led to, with, all of the profits and then the rest of LWO, led to Lashley hitting Rey with a spear to get the win here. And I guess because Wild was out and Cruz was out, that's why they needed to get Carlito. Yeah.
So when we're backstage, Heyman's talking to Rhea. Heyman's there shaking his head and then nods. It's like the Alonzo Mourning gif.
Right. Yeah, it's a great.
And Rhea says, "Come on, you're a wise man. So make the wise decision. We're stronger together. Judgment Day and the Bloodline." Heyman says, I like it. I think it's rather brilliant. I'm upset with myself for not thinking of it. I haven't been myself lately, but this is good. I mean, it's really good. So if you don't mind, excuse me for a moment. I'm going to make a phone call, and I'm going to get this authorized. And he brings the phone up. Rhea pushes it down, and she just says, authorized.
She got it.
And Heyman says, Miss Ripley, I don't think you understand. I need to get this authorized by my tribal chief. And Rhea says, oh, I completely understand. I'm saying it's authorized. Heyman responds, for Judgment Day, but not for the Bloodline. For the Bloodline, it can only be authorized by one man, and that's my tribal chief. And Rhea leans in and says, Paul, acknowledge me.
And the whole crowd gasps. Like, they have the audio going on from the arena, and they're like, whoa.
Yeah. And Heyman says, word for the wise, you're in the wrong locker room to say something like that. And Rhea says, oh, yeah? You're going to acknowledge me, just like your former boy Jey Uso acknowledged me on Raw. Otherwise, we're going to find out who's stronger, Judgment Day or the Bloodline. You're authorized to make your phone call now. She gets up and leaves. Heyman calls Roman Reigns.
He's very aggressive with Siri, too. Call Roman Reigns.
Oh, yeah.
After that, and again, he probably just doesn't pick up. He's like, oh, wise man.
All these calls.
Just I'm binging Breaking Bad. I haven't seen him before.
Maybe, hey, he's probably on vacation somewhere. Maybe he's not getting service.
Yeah, that could be, too, yeah. Oh, I've got T-Mobile. Never get bars. After that, we had an Alba Fire and Isla Dawn video package doing witchy stuff.
Yeah.
And then Austin Theory versus Dragon Lee. Austin cuts a promo, calls himself the 150 million hitman. And he says as soon as that bell rings, Dragon's career is going to last 150 seconds. That doesn't happen because Grayson Waller gets laid out by Cameron Grimes to the moon, which allows Dragon Lee, who is in position to hit A-Town down, to wriggle out of that and get the roll-up instead. Very aggressive roll-up here for Dragon Lee. Gets the win over A-Town down.
A-Town down. We get a quick shot, mostly without sound, of Rhea chatting up Jimmy, but he seems receptive to her idea. Of a team up between Judgment Day and Bloodline. And then
Corey yelled at Kevin to stop talking so they can hear what they're saying, but audio kept the audio intentionally very low. Yeah. And I think maybe Jimmy and Rhea were having their own volume, the way they were talking drop in and out, so you couldn't understand what they were saying. Except Jimmy seemed receptive.
Yeah. So then Ray walks out of the trainer's room and Santos and Zelina Vega are standing outside, and he tells them Wild and Cruz are getting evaluated. They're not going to make it to Fastlane. And Zelina's like, what are we going to do? It's going to be a 3-on-2 match now. And Ray goes, let me go make a phone call.
Yeah.
It was Carlito. He called.
It was Carlito. Hello, Carlito. He's like, yeah, Carlito, can you please show up a good, 80% into the match? We'll just get our asses kicked for a lot of the match, and then you'll just show up. And if you could bring a new crappy theme song, that would be awesome, too. No problem.
Cool.
Yeah. After that, we had our main event, Jimmy Uso versus LA Knight. Yeah. So Knight hits the elbow drop, sets up for a BFT, but then Solo blasts him from behind. Ref calls for the bell. It's just a mess. Cena runs to the rings, throws Solo out. Heyman sort of holds Solo back from engaging. And then Judgment Day comes out. They come to ringside, stand by Jimmy and Solo. And then Heyman extends his hand to Rhea, and he says, authorized. And then Rhea tells them all to get on the apron. They're about to get in the ring when Jay's music hits. Just me, Oos. He runs to the ring, which is a great moment because Jimmy's freaking out. Yeah. He's at one point, he's sort of hovering behind Finn. He's like, oh, I don't like my brother being here.
It's like he goes in between of I'm going to get off this apron and just hide under the announce table or something. And he tries to tells Finn and whoever's on the other side of him, you go get him.
Yeah, he was like, you going to the dentist, man. He was like, I'm going to get in the car.
Totally. He's like, you go attack him. I'm not doing that. Yeah, he's all freaking out.
So then we have Jay, Knight, and Cena, but Judgment Bloodline still have the numbers game. until adrenaline. This crowd knew every lyric, by the way, because they hit that music for like moments for Cody. He comes running out, does a SpongeBob run, gets in the ring. And so, you know, the numbers game is a bit more in their favor. But that crowd kept on singing his song. It was awesome. So anyways, and then I wanted to be there ringside as Child going,
Cody.
because he threw his weight belt and I could have caught it. Anyways, so yeah, they just face off, and then a bunch of stuff happened. JD took a BFT, super kick. Cena hit him with a 5-knuckle shuffle, and then Cody hit him with a crossroads, and he sold that brilliantly. Like, because, you know, you're doing like a spinning motion kind of when you do the crossroads, and he spun like 3 times out of it. It was kind of great.
And landed right in his head.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Before we answer some questions, I'm going to mix things up a little bit here, Larson. Well, no, shoot, I can't do that here. He's not on the line. So B-Cop says, always enjoy listening to these through the workday, but when is Triple H doing the Raw preview again? So how about this? Tomorrow on the show, after the Raw review, we'll bring Triple H in to do a special preview of the Tuesday Night War. So he'll do both NXT and AEW. How about that?
I don't understand why Triple H asked we could do that, but fine, whatever.
B-Cops gave us a $5 super chat. The least we could do. The least we could do.
Sure.
Let's offer up some Triple H. You know, I've got his number. He's like the head of WWE. He's like the biggest thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But tonight on Raw, before we answer some questions, we got Tegan Nox challenging Becky Lynch finally for that NXT Women's title. Raquel Rodriguez versus Nia Jax. So that could be something. And then Kofi Kingston is going to take on Ivar in yet another Viking Rules match.
Oh, yeah. That'll be fun.
That should be really fun, yeah.
They've had fun matches so far.
They have had fun matches, absolutely. All right.
Oh, hey, we're up to almost 160 likes over here on YouTube. We got 612 people watching. Please.
Oh, man. That's a lot of people.
Everybody watching just hits that like button. We can get over 200 easily. We should hopefully get over 600 if everybody's watching hits that like button. So
yeah,
please
absolutely. Man, apparently
my like button.
I don't know if it's my child impersonation or what, but we dropped 5 subs since we asked for subs.
I'm pretty sure that happened last time you did it, too.
Please sub for the channel. We'd like
You're going to be under 198,000 if you keep doing that. I'm serious. You're going to drive us.
My lifeblood.
You're going to drive us under 198,000.
Why does he have to say I am
so
child?
Hard.
Why does he have to say I am child? He clearly isn't. You know? Anyways.
It's going to be our undoing, isn't it?
I mean, it's very possible. You know, it's like you live by Steve, you die by Steve. Steve giveth and Steve taketh away.
Steve giveth and Steve taketh away, indeed. Cursed Hawk has a question. Says, well, the only one that got kind of annoyed with how Seth celebrated after his win over Nakamura. Would have made more sense for him to look and act like he barely survived instead of immediately getting up and celebrating with the fans after getting whooped for nearly 30 minutes. Yeah, there's something to be said for that.
Yeah.
Maybe he felt some adrenaline in his soul and was like elated that he won.
Mm-hmm. Poor Seth. Can't win for nothing.
Yeah.
AJ Otani says, do you think a women's-led AEW WWE invasion angle could do as well as the expectations of the WCW angle using names like Tony, Jade, Saraya, and Ruby? I mean, like, they tried to do that with the Outcast. That was sort of the point of the Outcast. It was. We were in the big leagues, and now we're here, and we're going to take over. But then they never really did anything with it.
No, not really. At least not what they definitely could have done with it. Phase 4 says, hey, friendo, seeing Damian Priest attempt the Hurricane Run at Fastlane got me thinking, what are some of your favorite or funniest big man doing small guy moves moment?
Gunther doing... Giant... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. I know what you're talking about. Go ahead.
Gunther doing the 619. I think like an OTT or something like that, yeah.
Yeah, that was good. I was going to say the Giant, we used to do missile drop kicks off the top
yeah.
rope.
Dude, that was awesome. He was bizarrely agile.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Kiddo Hudson says, besides the Elite, I wouldn't even put the Elite in this category, though. He says, which 5 wrestlers in AEW do you guys consider the top stars in the company, and ask yourself, are they megastars and can they actually help the company flourish? So, who do you think, let me ask you this. I'm going to sort of alter this question a little bit. I think that AEW has enough talent. Just like, dude, it's been crazy to see WWE go take Dom Mysterio,
Yeah.
have him get kidnapped by the Judgment Day, and now he gets some of the loudest reactions.
Yeah.
Rhea Ripley was superficially, aesthetically, the same person as she was back when Vince was running things, but now she is like one of the most over acts in the company.
Yeah.
Jimmy and Jey Uso, you couldn't tell them apart. Now they are completely separate, unique individuals, wildly successful with that. I believe, and it's just, okay, go back even further. Stone Cold Steve Austin with the Hollywood Blondes. He comes into WWF. He's the ringmaster. It's flat. Nobody sees it. He changes the gimmick, and you mine it out of him.
Yeah.
I think every company, but AEW, they have the ingredients for huge crossover acts.
Absolutely.
They just need to use them right. So who do you think are the top 5 of those acts?
Well, I think the closest to being a huge crossover act, I mean, it's going to be the movie coming up soon, MJF.
Agreed. That's number
tops
1.
on that list.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would say
The Acclaimed would be my number 2.
Acclaimed. Acclaimed's good. Tony Storm, I think, especially now with the current gimmick.
You're seeing it. Yeah, sure.
You're seeing it. The crowd's getting behind her.
I think Swerve's up there.
I was going to mention Swerve next. That's 5 there, I guess. Right?
Or 4 or 5, whatever we did. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 5 there. Yeah.
Yeah. I think they have, I absolutely think Athena is up there too. I think they have absolutely got, it's just like Tony Storm. You just have to find that thing.
Exactly.
And I just think that there's not enough emphasis on that. And when they found, like with the Acclaimed, at their peak, they didn't do anything with them. They cooled them off. They had them lose the tag titles, and they just cooled them off.
Terrible move. Got to add Christian to that list too. He could be a Bond villain right now.
I think he's
legitimately.
I think he's doing phenomenal work right now.
And you're going to see him overshadow his old buddy Edge in this feud. I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Nick Kyle says, how long do you expect Ricky Starks and Big Bill to hold on those tag titles? When's Full Gear?
November, about a month and a half.
November 18th, I think. So that's probably when they'll drop them.
Oh yeah, Keith Lee. Keith Lee's probably like the biggest ball drop outside of Jade Cargill.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Let's see here.
That's a good question from B-Man. What wrestler in character do you think would be the most fun to go bar hopping with? Who would be the most insufferable? In character.
Most fun would be Prince Nana.
Okay.
I feel like he would be wildly fun. Seems like a really funny guy too.
I feel like New Day would be fun to go just hang out with in general.
In character, Swerve, like this, it's an interesting dichotomy because Nana's his guy.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like Swerve would just be picking fights with people. He'd be like overly aggressive with people. It's like he wants to fight. I'd be like, I can't do that. What was your pick?
New Day would be great in character.
That'd be awesome. Seemingly. Yeah, that'd be awesome. What about Hangman?
Oh, I feel like he's too much like me, kind of grumpy, morose.
Yeah. Hangman, you want to do a strip club? It's not my thing.
Yeah, that's exactly my answer.
It's not your thing.
It's not my thing.
Oh, man. Here we go. Eastside Review says, what do you think is the ceiling for Pillman Jr. in WWE?
I don't know, because we didn't see much of him in AEW, but what we saw, I didn't see much. Like, he's an okay wrestler again, like a lot of wrestlers, if he could find a character that works, that the crowd could, whether it's heel or face, can latch onto, then maybe he'll go somewhere. We didn't see that in AEW at all. So I don't know.
You're right. I'll have to see it to believe it. He could have it, but I have to see it first, and I haven't yet.
No, haven't seen it.
Joker Smiley says, has Christian Cage elevated the TNT title enough for him to drop it to someone else yet? No, I think he needs to have a long reign with it and make it mean something when he does drop it to somebody. He needs to keep it for a while. This is the perfect opportunity for him. Or look, If Copeland wins it by the end of the year, then he needs to establish that as the 1B title. He is the guy who can reestablish that as well.
Yeah.
Because he ain't going to lose. He's not going to lose.
No, he's not going to lose for a while. Disc Golfing Goon says, hey, Friendo's excited to say that I will get to go to AEW Title Tuesday tomorrow. My question is, can you guys see the alliance with Don Callis eventually leading to a world title push for Takeshita? No, it'll be him leaving Don Callis family that'll get him popular enough that might put him into title contention.
I agree with that. That's a good point. White Brownie says, who should be next for EO?
It's probably going to be Charlotte because she had Asuka tapping. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get Charlotte and EO at one of the 2 November pay-per-views. Even though Charlotte got pinned, but you know what I mean.
Ooh, here we go. Chad Knows More says, who's going to return to WWE first, CM Punk or Randy Orton? It's Punk. He's going to return in a month.
Yeah, he'll be back in November. Yeah.
Oh, Clown says, not a question, but just wondering if I can get a shout out to my wonderful wife, Maya, today. It's our 13-year anniversary. Well,
oh, happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary. Let's see here. Timor here says, Dave mentioning that AEW being really cold right now. What do you think is one booking decision that can be made to make them get hotter? If they can just do one thing right now to turn around the entire fortunes of the company from a booking perspective, what would it be? One decision.
Jeez, dude. One decision. One thing. So like if we workshop this a little bit, if it's like, okay, they add a mandatory second women's match for every episode of TV they do, that would engender some goodwill from people who might have dropped out of AEW. I don't know that would be an immediate effect on like their ratings necessarily.
I mean, if it's one decision, Tony Khan hires somebody else to handle creative.
Oh, that's a good point. He steps away from creative.
Yeah.
Jimmy Jacobs runs the show.
Yeah. Or he hires Scott D'Amore or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is one decision that would change things. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. You win. All right. Anyways, that's going to do it for the show today. Your prize is we get to stop working right now.
Woo!
Thanks for watching, everybody. We appreciate it. Till next time, we'll see you around.
Hey, Steve, put your ones up. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye. Where's the end stream button here?